Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Yolopark Transformers model kit figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at Mirage based off his appearance in Rise of the Beasts. This guy is part of their AMK Pro series. We'll discuss what that means a little bit later. Now, if you're wondering why we don't have box art in front of us right now, just a clam tray, well, this was actually sent to me by Yolopark. It's a pre-production sample version of Mirage, so the box art isn't finalized yet. If you want to grab Mirage for yourself, he's currently on pre-order at the time of filming this video. I've popped an affiliate link in the description, along with the discount code for 5% off your order if you decide to grab him. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Rise of the Beasts or Yolopark content goes live on the channel. Okay, so what does AMK Pro mean? We've reviewed the Transformers 1 AMK figures on the channel, and this is similar to that. You have to build Mirage, but it's higher quality. So we get a base, better paint applications, die cast, and light up features. As you could see, shitload of parts in front of us. Luckily, even though this is a pre-production sample, there weren't any instructions in the box. They sent me some digital ones. So let's try and build this guy together, starting with the frame. Once we assemble the body, then we can put all the armor bits on top of it. Now, interestingly enough, this AMK Pro Series Mirage, when all is said and done, it's fully assembled, will be around 16 centimeters tall. And 3.0's Mirage in the DLX line, 20 centimeters tall. Not far off one another. So for now, seeing as though the 301 isn't out yet, I'm going to use this Yolopark Mirage as my DLX scale stand-in. Step 1, connect the upper torso to the hips. Then the legs on both sides, give them a wiggle as you slide them on the pins. The shoulders connect up with ball joints. The arms to the shoulders, friction fit pin, once again wiggling the arm as I slide it onto that connector. The feet on both sides, and this is a really tight fit, which is good. It means the joint isn't going to be loose once it's built. Et voila, the frame. So you can take or leave the order in which I do this. It doesn't matter. Follow the instructions when you get your copy. I'm going to install the thigh plates first, and these bits, they're made of die cast. These side blades for the legs are keyed. You can see there's a cutout at the bottom of that port right there. So when you're installing them, make sure you're lining them up correctly. That's a tricky one. This piece connects up on the inside of the thighs on both sides. There's no two ways about it. This is Mirage's butt. It connects up with a slot and key mechanism, and there's a circular peg up top. Die-cast butt cheeks. They're labeled left and right so you know which side goes where, but the easiest way to figure it out is the blue goes on the bottom and the red goes up top, facing the inside of his butt plate. Once again labeled left and right, the hip skirts are a little bit tricky because of clearance. You need to slot them behind that part for the legs, and then you can connect them up to the ball joints. The top part for the legs slots into that key right there. I shouldn't have installed the thigh plates first, now that I think about it. So don't do that on your copy, although it's not the end of the world. If you do, you can rotate the upper thigh. Then there's just enough clearance for you to be able to slot that piece in there. This one's an easy one. The lower back plate, 2 pins, and once you push that in place, it fills out the back area. One on either side for these bad boys. You can tell just by the shape which side they go on, and make sure you're slotting them underneath this front chest piece. Let's do some work on the arms now. For the inside parts for the biceps, you want to connect these up to complete the design on the outside. Then we can connect up these piston strut looking things to the elbow joint. There's a pin on the outside and a square peg on the inside. These peg ports, they're for these blade parts, and they're meant to sit like this with the peg closer to the top of them, and you need to angle them slightly. Shoulder pads. I didn't even know Mirage had shoulder pads. Once they're fully seated, you can push them down on these hinges to close the gap. Whoops, the neck joint. I probably should have done this one earlier. These collarbone blade bits with the vents on them, they connect up on either side of that neck joint. Before we can pop the wheels on his back, we need to assemble them. Install the rubber tires on the rims. The bracket pieces actually key in on the side of the exhaust ports on his back, and it's a pretty smooth connection. These grey parts connect up underneath his armpits to his upper torso. This triangular shaped part point at the bottom, plug it in underneath the neck joint around the front. He's really starting to look like something now, and there's a decent amount of weight to him because of all the die cast we've been adding. Here's even more of it. The two front chest pieces, they're made of die-cast metal. Inside parts for the arms, slot them in at the front first, then they key in place. Let's give Mirage a hand. Luckily we've got two of them, ball joints at the wrists, they pop right on there. That was rough. One of my worst dad jokes of all time, but I am a dad now, so I feel like I can make those types of terrible jokes in my videos. This piece that connects up around the back of the head sculpt, the ears angle downwards if you're wondering how to connect it properly. You ready for it? I had to save the head for last. Any good Transformers fan knows that transformations usually have the heads pop out last, and with it plugged onto the body, now we've got a completed Yolopark AMK Pro Mirage. Before we dive in deeper, take a look at him on the turntable, check scaling, let's get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, because yes, there's actually more bits in the clam trays, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Most of his accessories are just like him, all of the various panels and bits and pieces you have to install, so for actual accessories we don't get a ton of stuff, but we get the essentials. Starting off with his display base first, it's sizable. It's a really big display base actually. There's plenty of sculpted detail on it, some silver and gold paint apps, and a removable Autobot symbol. There's a magnet behind it, this will come into play a little bit later. Up top, an adjustable flight pole, and a crotch grabber with these two pegs up top. You essentially sit him on the crotch grabber, then you angle these ones up to lock him in place. If you don't count the base, these are his only real accessories, his dual arm cannons. The paint applications, no complaints so far, and they've got a light up effect. You'll see what I mean once we install these on him. What we're going to do now is get AMK Pro Mirage himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Okay, Yolopark, you've got my attention. It started with the Transformers 1 figures. They were fun. But this is a much more serious offering from them. It's heavy. It's got die-cast, light-up effects. The paint applications are brilliant. This guy rivals stuff that I've seen from 3.0 even, when it comes to paint apps and engineering. He's not a 3.0 replacement, I don't think, but they nailed all of the key things that they needed to. He's accurate to the CGI model, proportions look really good, and he's chock full of detail. Up close and personal, before we get stuck in, I was not expecting to be this enamored by the in-hand feel, the weight of him, the cold touch die cast, the paint applications, all of the little moving bits and pieces. This has to be one of my new favorite Transformers. Anyway, the head sculpt. Does it look like Mirage from the movie? Yeah, I think it does. And the paint applications? Beautiful. This metallic flake for the blue, it's super reflective. There's an Autobot logo up front, a black wash in the crevices to highlight the mouth and the rest of the detail on the face, and it's an asymmetrical design. We've got different armor plates on one side versus the other. He's got a light-up effect, bringing in the Autobot logo from the base, popping it on top of his head sculpt, his eyes light up. Doing it again, they flash, and one more time, they just fade in and out slowly. I like that they've included that effect, but his eyes are painted in metallic blue anyway, they pop on their own without having to use the LEDs. I tried to find reference for this, I failed. The design for the rims, the 5-spoke look is accurate, and I love the black wash, how shiny and metallic they are. But is there supposed to be Porsche logos in the middle of those rivets? I think so. I could be misremembering. If you know for sure, let me know down in the comments. The tires, real rubber, there's a decent amount of tread on them. We had to install them ourselves, as you know. And the wheels can rotate. I love when companies do this. When you crunch Mirage forward, there's spinal column detail that reveals itself. And it's been fully painted in gunmetal with a black wash. One of the benefits of this being a model kit is they don't get to cheat when it comes to depth in the sculpt work. 3.0, they can get away with it. I don't mean to put 3.0 down, I love them. There's a lot of single plane, flat sculpt work, fake detail sculpted onto the surface of panels. There's some of that here, like the chest section. But most of this stuff, the layering, is actual layering. We know that because we had to put this guy together. When you see pistons stacked on top of other bits and pieces, there's some real depth behind those parts. Then the paint applications. There's some pops of yellow, shiny metallic silver bits, gold, this pearlescent flake look to the white, it's also very glossy, and metallic red for what would be the tail lights, I believe. These bits on the shoulders, they're translucent plastic, I reckon they're the headlights. Proportions are so good on this Yolopark Mirage. Broad shoulders, articulated shoulder pads, so you can move them around to help the proportions. You can see his neck. Nice, chonky chest. Narrow waist, thick thighs, narrow ankles, and skinny arms. Look at all this stuff. No idea how to describe any of it. This is a hose, a linkage of some kind. There's more detail on the inside of the knee that reveals itself as you bend that knee joint. And the rubber tires on the rims can rotate above his feet as well. These aren't static pieces. It's a small thing, but it might be my favorite single individual detail on the entire piece. I like the exhaust being visible around the back and the wheels. But this rotor actually spins, and it's made of die cast, plus there's weathering on it. Speaking of weathering, I've not mentioned this yet. There's silver chipping. It's subtle, but it's just some nice extra surface detail. Working pistons, you all know I love to see it, and we've got some working pistons on Mirage's feet. I'm struggling to find anything that I don't like about this. From every angle, he's clean as. The only visible screw I can spot is that one right there, on the inside of the wheels, on the inside of the legs. And it's not a deal breaker for me. There's one more thing we need to try out. His arm cannons. Oh, hell yes! Dual arm cannons. I will be rocking him with the arm cannons on permanently in my collection. They connect up to the same ball joints that the hands do, so it's a very secure fit. Paint applications, metallic silver, black wash, metallic blue, and a little pop of red for that button. But they've got a light up effect, just like the head sculpt. Bringing in the Autobot magnet, you can turn them on. One more wave, flashing. One more, slowly pulsing on and off. Don't forget, they're powered by button cell batteries, so you can't really leave them on long term, they'll eventually die. For a quick side-by-side comparison, 3.0's Rise of the Beast DLX Scale Optimus Prime, and Yolopark's AMK model kit Mirage. AMK Pro, I should say. Mirage, I've checked reference. He's a little bit small. But that's okay, he's not meant to be DLX scale. In the right pose, in your display, if you're using risers, I think you could get away with it. And aesthetically speaking, detail and paint-wise, they mesh pretty well. I may as well adjust the camera for these next two. 3.0's DLX scale Rise of the Beast Bumblebee, still taller than Mirage, this isn't that far off. And lastly, Yolopark, AMK, Rise of the Beast, Optimus Prime, their own version of Optimus. He's a bit small. Ignore the paint applications, I did them myself. I know they're not fantastic, I'm still proud of my work. I think it's time for an updated, larger in scale AMK Pro Rise of the Beast Optimus. I'd for sure be down for that. Going over articulation, starting off with Mirage's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the neck, ball joint at the base of the head, combined forward to there, up to there, further than forward. Swivel and pivot side to side. Multiple joints at the shoulders. The shoulder pads move out of the way, the arms will go up to there, forward and back. There's a butterfly joint that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, going the full way, no problem. Then for the wrist, it's a ball joint. And we've got articulated fingers. A ball joint and multiple hinges for the upper torso, crunching forward to there, and more detail reveals itself as you do that. Going back, not really, maybe a little. Swivel at the waist, and some pivot side to side for the upper torso. Legs are on ratcheted drop downs, going forward to there as the thigh plate collides with the hip skirts. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90. That piece just tucking in underneath the back part of the thigh, very clever. A series of hinges for the ankles, good for forward and back rotation, and some pretty significant ratcheted ankle tilt. Lastly, toe articulation with some working pistons. Wrapping up on maybe Yolopark's best figure yet, and that's saying something because they've dropped some absolute bangers. But this AMK Pro Series Rise of the Beast Mirage, is that good? Proportions? Very movie accurate. Engineering? Crazy good. He's got die cast, light up effects, and the icing on the cake? Paint applications. This guy, in my opinion, looks right at home alongside DLX Scale 3.0 figures, and that is a massive compliment to Yolopark, especially at this price point. For just over $50, I don't think you can beat it for a Rise of the Beast Mirage. Yes, it can't transform. Only Hasbro and Takara Tomy can make Transformers figures that can transform and have them be licensed. This figure isn't about that. He's meant to be the most accurate, the most well-detailed, the best painted, smaller scale Mirage. And that's what he is. Picking him up is a no-brainer. A lot of folks like me watched the movie and fell in love with Mirage. At first I wasn't sure when I saw the trailers, but in the film, Mirage was the standout Autobot for me. So I'm really glad to have this. Now, Yolopark sent me this pre-production version of Mirage as a review sample. I've popped an affiliate link in the description below to their site if you'd like to grab one for yourself. And a discount code for 5% off your order. While you're down in the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.